Hello everyone, let's begin. Harmonization with this session 100%, going both ways. Wonderful. So let's take a deeper look at the pattern of energy that's presenting itself to us today. It's an interesting shape. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. It's almost like a cone. The open end starts with my body and it projects forward and slightly upwards in this direction, up that way, but it also curves in at the end, so it doesn't come to a point. It narrows and then curves in at the end, almost like an elongated donut shape. And I say donut because there are no sharp edges to its texture either. The textural sensation that I'm perceiving, beginning just beyond my back, just about maybe half an inch off of my back is where the opening starts, or the wide end starts, and it curves forward in a conical shape, coming to a point about 2.5 feet away from the front of my forehead. Not exactly a point though, again curving in towards the middle, and it is hollow in the center, so the donut analogy was correct. It's entirely hollow in the center. An elongated, stretched out, conical, toroid shape would be another way that we could relay that. So is there something that we need to know about this in terms of techniques? No, but there is information that we need to understand by tapping into and recognizing this pattern of information. So we pay attention to the shape and we come to second attention. It's moving, spinning, whirring might be a better word for it. The donut, if you will, is doing something like this all around. Let's see, what direction is that? Yeah, it seems to be coming towards, the whirring through the central line of this donut-like shape is coming towards us, and the outside component is moving away. And it's whirring in this direction, feeding into the space in about my heart center, but a little bit higher up, more like the top of your sternum, where it starts to bend at an angle. In biology, we call that the angle of Louis. It feels like there's this entry point of movement exactly at my angle of Louis, at my sternum. Vibration that's moving in this direction down my body, again, right behind my back, about here, an inch off my back, and opening up before it starts to whir around the full shape of this thing. Now we can start to look into techniques, and now we can start to use a little bit more structure to help us figure out what's this thing about. So no issue with us toward this energy, but there is a dissonance with the way that this energy is affecting us, with the energy being directed towards us. So something affecting us in the present and the future, but not from a standpoint of it being one of the common features that we experience in our day-to-day life, which makes me think it leaves two other things, either love, money, or ourselves. So something about us specifically, something about me, my concept of me. Let's check out something at a spiritual level. So we can look into metaphysical, so metaphysical things of that category. That category has been expanding with my recent studies, but let's see if we can tap in and think. Disconnection of some sort, a disconnection of some sort. Let's look into something about difficulty within our energy and what we perceive as the aspect of our soul that fuels our self and our self-expression being completely in my body. So I'm disconnected in a sense of, I'm disassociating my sense of perception outside of my body somewhat slightly. Does the directionality matter? Yes, and it is. behind. So there's an aspect of myself that feels like it's behind my eyes and way too far back. This is a similar sensation to something I experienced in college when I first began working with my first entity attachment. Before I knew exactly what that was, the sensation of disassociated like feelings came to me as though I was experiencing everything in my life as though I were standing behind a waterfall or a foggy piece of somewhat soundproof glass, enough that I could still make out what the people around me were saying, but the communication of intent and tone of voice, as well as tone of behavior and how other people perceived some of the things that were going on around me or the behaviors that I was purveying, were able to be understood by myself in that moment. There was a foggy haziness that was preventing me from fully being able to take in the full situation. I was responsible for my actions, but it also felt like I was running on autopilot, and at any point in time, if they wanted to and were able to, someone else could jump into the driver's seat, right? No one was in here. That's a similar sensation to what I'm experiencing right now on top of the visual of this odd conical donut shape. So something about disconnection within our awareness not being fully inside of our body is the more that we need to know about this. Yes, there's a tilting sensation, wonderful. And as typical, it's pointing off onto that right side like this. Most emotional sensations that I've been running into since learning this technique, again, I would look into In Deep with Dr. Richard Bartlett if you're interested in this sort of stuff. Psycho-emotional energetics is the terminology he uses for this. Most of what I find is, so far, tilting off and to the right side. Not all of it, but most of it. And as we pay attention to the tilting, it's changing. Let me switch to one hand here. This is an emotional component, and it's leaning completely the other way now. Something in the midline, but something in our lower half of our torso. And let's check out. No. No, okay. Something about suppression, using a little bit of creative emotional wizardry in the emotional index that they use in that technique. Dr. Randall Robirds teaches that. The emotion of suppression being related to this tilting sensation that's still moving. Wonderful. And suppression, something within our lifetimes? No, so something prior to this. This emotion of suppression leading to it almost being like the full expression of me. My soul cannot fully reside within my body because I'm not allowing it to fully express what it is. Because I can't, because there's an emotional component that's stopping me from neurologically feeling like it's safe to express myself. So, what can we look into here? The timeline. Let's check out. Shows the present moment. Wonderful. Something about 200 years ago. 215, no, 205, no, 150, no, about 200 years ago. Something recent on the timeline of the planet. Let's see, 200 years would be 1824. Interesting. Something about suppression at this time. Is there more that we need to know about this? Okay. But that's the emotional pattern that's coming through. Something ancestral in this case, something that's impacting the DNA phenotype expression of the individuals who are watching this video. The emotion of inherited suppression leading to an out-of-body disassociated-like experience within a certain area of our life. Wonderful. Good. Good. Wonderful flow of energy here. So we're bringing that moment in time here in front of us so that we can be with it and feel it and experience it. And I'm feeling more grounded as I do this because it's allowing us to feel and experience our emotions that can allow them to end. Techniques are wonderful and beneficial for things that are stuck and have been stuck for a long time. But in day-to-day life, it's best to feel what we're feeling, to allow it to move through the motions that it needs to move through so that emotion can start, peak, and end, and we can move through the full process in a healthy, timely way. And this pattern is expanding and getting longer. Sort of like I'm washing star systems in through my body. That's the visualization, and pushing out black gunk. Wonderful. Is this inherited pattern of suppression still present within our bodies? No. Within our energy? No. Wonderful. How about this pattern, this disassociative pattern? Is this still present within our bodies? No. Good. The tilting sensation is removed as well. Another indicator, looking for as many indicators that we possibly can that something has changed. What is different? What feels different? It's important to pay attention to what feels different, not what's the same. What has changed? Notice what has changed. Give your subconscious mind a reference to begin paying more attention in day-to-day life to what is different, and you will see things become different instead of looking for what's the same all the time. Still something more here. Calling our energy back into our body. Yes. Something about this mudra seems to be important for that. Let's do a little bit of grounding. Again, if you're interested in studying this technique, I would read the book A Psychic Bedside Reader by Wayne Martin. Very beneficial grounding technique based around the Berkeley Psychic Institute style of grounding your energy in your body. Good. We should be good to begin now. Wonderful. So we'll pay attention to what our body feels like in space. We'll pay attention to gravity bearing down on our body. Feel the weight of your body. And from there, pay attention to where your tailbone is in space. Notice the distance between your tailbone and your feet on the floor. Now, with your imagination, whether you are hearing, seeing, feeling, or just vaguely knowing the distance, notice the distance between your feet and the soil below the foundation of the building that you're in. How far between your feet and the soil? Notice the distance. Notice the distance now between the soil and the water table of the planet that various trees connect to, that we draw well water from. How far does the soil go down? Notice the distance between the water table and the rocky mantle, the Earth's stone foundation. Now notice how far down the rocky mantle goes. Notice the distance between where you are here and where the Earth's core begins to become molten red. Miles and miles down, just notice where it begins. Notice the distance now from this space to the very center of the planet, bright white. Stick your feet in here at the center of the planet, feeling as though your feet are submerged in sand or earth. Good. Come back to the sensation of your body now, and for the rest of the day and for as long as you need, Know that every step that you take, you can feel your feet submerged here in the sand, in the earth, at the center of the planet, fully grounded, with your energy fully in your body. I believe that's all that I have for you today. Have a wonderful day.